ad lib video today. Not something, I'm not reading from an article tonight. So I wanted to respond to 9/11 Tourette's question as to, what we should do in terms of the truthers or non-truthers regarding 9/11. Actually, that question is not easily answered. What I would like to contribute to this, and Objective 4 has just made a very pertinent and moving video regarding that issue. But emotional issues aside here, to me, to this day, and this is almost 9 years after, I'm absolutely not convinced of the official accounting of that event. There are too many coincidences, too many questions unanswered, and in my estimation, they will probably never be answered because most of the evidence to start with, like, all that scrap metal and stuff, it has been destroyed. The official 9/11 Commission report, in my view, and I've read it, left very important questions completely unanswered, like Building 7. There's just so many things that are not even mentioned in this report that, some people are not satisfied with it. And that includes me. Now, whether we will have any truthful answers forthcoming, that's of course very doubtful at this point. I'm on the side of let's say, the skeptics who won't take certain official statements and even scientific statements for granted at all times. I do take science, by the way, very seriously, but some things just remain unexplained regarding that event. Now, with this whole question that was posed, that was implied, whether we should just move on, forget about it, whatever. Okay. Here's my view on that. Yes, of course, we have to move on. The situation is in place because of this incident, and there's no question about it. This incident has caused, or was an excuse, for a very aggressive U.S. foreign policy stance, and this coming right on the heels of the Cold War. And these notions in foreign policy circles were, by the way, preconceived. There's plenty of evidence for this, so I'm not going to go into it. But I do believe it is wrong to just simply say, let's just, let's move on and let's forget about the past. The problem in our Western society is, especially today, that the past is too easily forgotten. And I just want to interject here that even for over 40% of college-educated people, once they graduate from college or university or whatever, will never pick up another book again. Everything seems to center around the now and the future, without a true examination of what has gone on before, and trying to look at those mistakes in a serious way and not to repeat them time and time again. So I don't believe in forgetting and moving on without any sort of accounting process, even though in this case, of course, it's probably gonna end up like JFK, type of thing. Nobody really knows what happened. You can't prove it anymore. It's all gone up in smoke, so to speak. But it is important to examine the decisions of the decision makers. Because at this point, we have been told so many lies. And this doesn't just pertain to the United States, This pertains to basically all peoples governed by anybody across the planet. There's plenty of lies, obfuscation and exaggeration and propaganda. It's enough to fill another completely different planet. But I do believe that it is in our best interest to remain skeptical as far as our rulers, or let's say our elected representatives, are concerned. Because politics is a strange game. It's not, shall we say, doing about the right thing or examining the right thing to do. It is about power and power relationships. It's not, some sort of a high-minded philosophical stance. And as such, it should be considered as questionable at all points. I don't agree, for instance, with the present administration's stance of forgetting about the atrocities, basically forgotten in terms of U.S. war crimes under the previous regime. In fact, what this is doing is it's mainly just shoved away under the carpet so that the next regime can come in and basically continue the same thing. All in the interest of getting along, you see. So that paves the road for further impunities. And that's a historical fact. You can look it up if you want to actually delve into world history. So it's not that we should take a vindictive approach, but at least it has to be acknowledged as to what is going on. And that's basically not being done at all. So as far as 9/11 is concerned and whether it was a complete inside job, I'm ambivalent about it. I don't know whether it was a strict inside job. I sort of doubt it, because government bureaucrats most of them tend to be not too smart to keep secrets, amongst themselves at least. But what if it was actually a very highly classified operation, and people who were basically cooperating with that thing didn't even know that they were cooperating? So if they didn't know, and if they still don't suspect it to this day, then you won't have any whistleblowers or anything. There are just too many unanswered questions regarding 9/11, and I will never, as long as I live, believe the official story that came out of that 9/11 Commission report. Just as I don't believe to this day the entire assassination thing about JFK. I don't believe that either. And I've drawn some lessons from that, namely that you can't always trust the official sources. So that doesn't mean everyone has to become a conspiracy theorist with outlandish theories, about planes not hitting the building about planes being non-existent and so on. That's all. It's laughable. That's sort of like undermining the whole movement, and people are falling for it, and it plays right into the discreditation of anyone that is even paying serious attention or actually asking legitimate questions. So that's my take on it, and Jacques-Luc Four is right about this. It was a pivotal event in our country, but in comparison to what has gone on in the rest of the world, really, this is really pretty minor in comparison. I know people don't like to hear this, and we're not trying to compare figures or numbers or anything like that. But historically, what has happened here is very minor as opposed to what's been happening in other countries. And some of that is due to our own actions. It takes some reflection to see that, and it doesn't mean that you have to hate America, be un-American, or whatever. It does take reflection for you to see that no nation and no government is perfect, and there's a lot of lies. A lot of lies. Good night.